What's up, my friends? There are two things that I think you should know about this Dyson vacuum before you make the investment. These cordless vacuums are all the rage right now, and Dyson is absolutely one of the front runners. I'm going to talk about those two things in just a second. First, I want to go over some of the features that I think separate this from the others and things that I think you should know. So first off, these are super convenient. If you haven't had a cordless vacuum yet, you'll know that they are very handy for everyday cleanups. Some of the bigger messes, some of the more chunkier messes, they're not as well, they don't perform as well. First thing to know about this vacuum is it's completely, you can break the whole thing down. So you can break it, you can take it apart here, down at the floor attachment, and you can also take the tube, or the middle tube, the part of it, the big part of it off. So that way you can make it more compact, something like this. If you're getting into small spaces or need to go around, you can do that with any of the attachments. By the way, it comes with this floor attachment, and I'll talk a little bit more about this in just a second. There is a feature on this that I think is great, with one caveat. I'll talk about that in just a second. There's also this upholstery head, and this typically I'll use this like on the short side of this, going right to the vacuum brain or hub that I call it. And then you can, get down really close onto the upholstery, use it that way. And that's a great feature as well. And then it comes with this attachment. I also could not find my long attachment, but you know what it looks like. There's a long attachment that comes with it that's good for car detailing and cracks and all this stuff. This attachment's cool because you can slide, you have the brush when you slide it up, or you can slide the brush back for that more rigid suction to get different places in the house. So lots of accessories, lots of options, whether you're doing floors, upholstery, cars. This is a great piece of equipment for, it's well-rounded in that way. Now, the next thing is you should know is that there is a max power and a low power. The reason that they do that is for battery life. Battery life on this Dyson is pretty good compared to other vacuums that I've tested. It can last a couple of, I would say collectively, it's hard to tell because probably collectively it'll last about a good hour of vacuuming before it needs to be recharged. One thing about this battery though is that it's not replaceable. A lot of the cordless vacuums that I've used and tested, you can actually take the battery off really simple with a release and go charge it. This one has to be charged on the unit. What that means is if you run out of battery, you can't swap out for another battery. You've got to go charge your vacuum before you can finish the job. Not a huge fan of that. Plus, if the battery goes bad, there is a way that you can take it out of here, I think, to replace it. But it's not as easy as just popping it off and putting on a new battery. The charging port is a round barreled charging port on the back side of the handle. Right now I have it fed through the wall mount. This is another cool feature of this vacuum, is that this thing, you can run the charging cord up into it and down out right here, if you can see that right there. So you run the power cord out, and then if this is hanging on the wall, all you have to do, sorry, it's hard to do when it's not on the wall. So you slide, you hinge this thing out, slide the handle in, and the vacuum hangs on the wall like that and charges while it's on the wall. You can also put your accessories up in here, just like this, and they hang on the wall as well, and then you can easily release those. I think that's a cool feature. I've seen a lot of these hanging ports, and this one, I think, is exceptionally designed for convenience and lasting a long time. Now, next thing is you have an air filter on the back of this thing, and it's really easy to remove and get access to and clean. That's one of the things that has been challenging with some of these other vacuums, is gaining access to that filter and the actual cleaning process. Now, there's also Now also the internal filter is a simple pull from the top as well, and you can go and wash this thing out, get it nice and clean. So there's a lot of different filters that are involved inside of this vacuum. And one of the things that I think you should really understand is that emptying this vacuum is not the easiest. So basically what you do is you pull up, I don't want to empty this out on the desk, but I'll grab this garbage can here, put it underneath me. But basically you have this red tab on top and you pull up on that tab all the way until the bottom pops open. What I have found is that it can be challenging to control how the debris comes out of this vacuum when you do it, because you're holding it over the garbage can. If you're not right over that garbage can, or sometimes even the dust falling unexpectedly can create a mess. So if I had one criticism of this vacuum, that's what it would be. But it's pretty small, and I've figured out, after the first time of emptying it, I've figured out how to control that a lot better. Then you can gain access. You can remove this completely if you want to gain access to this external filter that's inside the basket, so you can clean that off and all that sort of stuff. Now this next thing is, I was challenged by this for a minute. This door that empties will not latch until this piece has been put back into place. Then you can close the door and it all latches up nice and neat like that. Now I've got a mess all over my desk. The cord on this thing is not incredibly long, so if you're not hanging this thing right near an outlet, you've got to make plans for having an extension cord or something like that. It's about, I would say it's about between 6 and 7 feet long on the charging cord on this thing. All right, so let's talk about the floor head really quick. This is the pet version of this vacuum. It just beefs up the battery a little bit, the motor, the suction, and adds some accessibility and function on the head as well, because you're dealing with a lot of pet hair. Now, most vacuums now, you can remove this wheel in here so that you get the hair really stuck on there and wound on there. And it's crucial to be able to clean that out so that you can keep the effectiveness of the vacuum cleaner. Most of these vacuum cleaners have a really easy way to remove this wheel. This one is a little bit more, it does involve a tool. So either a screwdriver or a coin to actually put into that slot right there and turn to unlock, and then it releases the wheel. You can pull that out and cut all the hair off of it and clean it off, clean off all of the inside mechanics of this piece right here. And then to put it back in, you got to get this lined up just right. So not a big deal, but you are going to need some sort of tool to unlock that. The articulating head is one of the places that this thing shines. You really can utilize this. It articulates in every angle to be able to get in any different kinds of spaces, and I think that's well thought out right there. Another thing on the head is you do have some felt on the front. This way you're not scratching up any of the walls. They don't wrap around the corners or around the sides of the vacuum, which I thought was interesting because I'm often going against the baseboards like this. But overall, it's got some features there to protect your walls from getting marked up from this vacuum. So my friends, this has been a great vacuum to own, really powerful, nice to have the cordless features, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I do.